Right now, somewhere in your yard, a bird is hiding from you. Not flying, not singing, not feeding, just gone. You've seen it happen. One moment your feeder is alive with chickadees and cardinals, the sky darkens, the first drops fall, and within 60 seconds, silence. Every single bird vanishes as if the yard swallowed them whole. Most people assume birds simply fly away, maybe to a forest, maybe somewhere far. And for years, decades even, that explanation felt good enough. But here is what no one tells you. They didn't leave. They are still there, right now. Within 30, maybe 20 feet of where you're standing, hidden so perfectly, so deliberately, that you could walk past them 100 times and never once suspect a living creature was watching you from the shadows. And once you learn exactly where they go, once you understand the secret system your backyard birds have been running right under your nose, you will never look at your yard the same way again. Not after rain, not after dark, not ever. Stay with me through this entire video because I've saved the most extraordinary part for last. It's the one thing about backyard birds that genuinely stopped me in my tracks when I first discovered it. And I think it's going to do the same to you. If you're new here, welcome to the Backyard Oracle, where the ordinary backyard becomes something extraordinary. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Let's start at the moment everything disappears. The disappearance. It begins with the robin. You've probably watched this without realizing what you were seeing. The robin is working the lawn, head tilted, pulling worms, moving in that quick, decisive way robins do. Then it pauses, looks up, and without any apparent reason, walks into the shrubbery and doesn't come back out. Then the cardinal. One moment it's at the feeder, brilliant red against the gray sky. Then it drops into the hedgerow and simply ceases to exist. The chickadees stop their calls mid-sentence. The sparrows lift off the ground in a nervous cluster, drift toward the fence line, and disappear behind the arborvitae. Within 2 minutes, your yard has gone from a living, noisy, beautiful place to something that feels completely abandoned. The feeder swings empty. The bird bath sits untouched. Even the air feels different, heavier, quieter, like something has been taken out of the world. This happens every time it rains, every time a storm front moves through. And most of us just accept it. We go inside, make tea, look out the window at the gray yard, and assume the birds have gone somewhere else entirely. They haven't. What birds actually sense? Here's the first thing that will change how you see your birds forever. Birds feel the rain before you do. Not because they're magical, though what I'm about to describe might feel that way. Birds possess a physiological ability to detect changes in barometric pressure. The tiny structures in their inner ears and throughout their body cavities register pressure drops that happen before a single cloud appears overhead. When a storm is coming, your birds know it before the radar does. This means the vanishing act you witness isn't a reaction to rain. It's a preparation for rain. By the time the first drop falls, your birds have already made their decision, already moved to their chosen shelter, already settled into the specific spot they selected, sometimes months or even years earlier. That's the detail that makes this extraordinary. Your yard isn't visited by random birds making random choices. Every bird in your garden is running a system. They have memorized the layout of your property in a way that would astonish you. They know which branch holds the most leaf cover, which hedge is densest on the north side, which gap in your fence faces away from the prevailing wind. They have, quite literally, studied your yard more carefully than you have. And when the pressure drops and the storm signals arrive in their bodies, they don't panic. They don't scatter randomly. They move, with precision, to the place they already chose. The yard doesn't empty when it rains. It restructures. It folds itself into a hidden configuration that has been quietly rehearsed every single day you weren't watching. So where, exactly, do they go? Let's walk through your yard species by species. Because the answer is different for every bird, and every answer is more surprising than the last. The cardinal's secret. The northern cardinal, that brilliant splash of red that feels almost too beautiful to be real, does something that perfectly matches its dramatic appearance. It buries itself, not literally, but functionally, Yes. When rain comes, cardinals move to the deepest interior of the densest evergreen tree available. Not the outer branches, not the middle. The very core, the tight inner architecture of a spruce, cedar, or holly, where branches grow so close together that rainfall almost cannot penetrate. Inside that inner chamber, a cardinal can sit through hours of rain while staying nearly dry. The overlapping branches above act as a series of small roofs, each one redirecting water outward and away. The bird sits pressed close to the trunk, feathers slightly fluffed, heart rate slowed, energy consumption reduced. If you have an evergreen tree in your yard, especially a dense one with low-hanging branches, there's a reasonable chance a cardinal has already identified it as a rain shelter. And during the next storm, while you're watching an apparently empty yard, that cardinal may be sitting inside your tree, motionless, 3 feet from the trunk, completely invisible. The chickadee's hollow. Chickadees are among the most studied small birds in North America, partly because their behavior under stress is remarkable. When rain arrives, chickadees seek cavities, woodpecker holes, natural hollows in dead tree branches, nest boxes, not because it's nesting season, but because a wooden box is a dry, wind-blocked chamber. What makes chickadees remarkable is what they do inside. A chickadee can deliberately lower its body temperature by 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit in a process called regulated hypothermia. By cooling its own core, it dramatically reduces the energy it needs to survive the night or the storm. It is, in the most precise sense, switching itself to low power mode. The tiny hollow the chickadee chose holds its body heat. The wooden walls block wind. The small entrance hole is usually positioned facing away from the direction of prevailing weather. None of this is accidental. If you have a nest box that no one is using, there is a real chance a chickadee is using it every single stormy night. You just aren't awake to see it. The wren's invisible network house wrens and Carolina wrens take a different approach. Rather than seeking a single shelter, wrens maintain what researchers describe as a network of roost sites, multiple backup locations spread across a territory. During rain, they move into brush piles, root tangles, ivy walls, stacked firewood, or dense climbing vines. Places that most homeowners consider yard clutter, places that, from a wren's perspective, are 5-star emergency shelters. Wrens tuck themselves so deeply into these tangles that they become structurally invisible. They're not just hidden from your eyes, they're hidden from the rain itself, sheltered by layers of debris that absorb and redirect water away from the tiny bird at the center. The sparrow under your roof. House sparrows are the birds most likely to be sheltering on your actual house. Roof eaves, gutters, the gap behind a shutter, the space where a soffit panel has lifted slightly from the wall. House sparrows identified these spots long before you moved in, and they use them with absolute regularity. During heavy rain, a sparrow tucked under an overhang can stay completely dry. The surface temperature of your house, slightly warmer than the outdoor air, creates a microclimate just a few degrees above ambient. In rain and cold, those few degrees matter enormously. Blue jays and the layer strategy. Blue jays don't seek enclosed spaces. They use a technique ornithologists call layer sheltering. They position themselves low on a branch close to the trunk, beneath multiple canopy layers, so that rain must pass through leaf after leaf before it can reach the bird. They also rely on their own feathers in a way that deserves its own explanation, which brings us to the most astonishing part of this entire story. Every bird in your yard is wearing something extraordinary. You've seen feathers your entire life. You've probably never fully understood what they are. A bird's feathers are not simply coverings. They are an active thermal management system of almost incomprehensible complexity. Each feather is a structure of interlocking microscopic filaments, barbules, that can be precisely adjusted by tiny muscles at the base of each quill. When a bird fluffs up in the rain or cold, it isn't just puffing out randomly. It is deliberately creating pockets of trapped air between layers of feathers. Air is one of the most effective insulators that exists in nature. A fluffed bird is essentially surrounding itself with a personalized air bubble coat, one it can adjust in real time depending on the temperature, wind speed, and moisture level of the air around it. Beneath those outer feathers, most birds also have a layer of down, the same material humans have prized for centuries, in sleeping bags and winter coats. Down is structurally perfect for trapping warmth. It catches body heat and holds it in a zone directly against the bird's skin. The bird sitting in your evergreen during a storm is not suffering. It is not cold. It has engineered its own warmth, using a system that has been refined over 150 million years of survival pressure. The cooperation that will change. How you see your yard. Here is what I promised you. The thing that stopped me cold when I first encountered it in the research. Birds are territorial. You know this. Chickadees defend feeding areas. Bluebirds claim nest boxes. Wrens will fight other wrens over brush piles. The backyard you watch is not peaceful. It is a landscape of ongoing negotiation and conflict, conducted mostly below our level of perception. But when temperatures plummet and storms arrive, when the pressure drops far enough and the cold becomes genuinely dangerous, something shifts. Birds that would ordinarily never share a space begin to share. Chickadees that spent the day asserting dominance at your feeder have been documented roosting together in the same cavity at night, pressed together, sharing body heat, temporarily suspending the rules that governed every interaction they had during the day. Bluebirds, famously competitive over nest boxes, have been found in groups of a dozen or more, packed into a single box on bitter winter nights, each one contributing warmth to a shared chamber that keeps the group alive. Eastern screech owls, typically solitary, have been observed sharing hollows during ice storms. The yard you think you know has a nightlife and a storm life that operates by completely different rules than the one you observe during daylight hours. The competition pauses. Something older takes over. Survival becomes a cooperative project. The spot you walk past every day. Research on individual birds, studies where small transmitters or color bands allowed researchers to track specific animals, revealed something that has stayed with me since I first read it. Many birds return to the exact same roosting site night after night, storm after storm, season after season. The chickadee in your yard right now may have been sleeping in the same cavity since before you started paying attention to birds. It may have slept in that hollow through 3 winters, through 100 rainstorms, through ice and drought and everything else your local weather has delivered. It chose that spot once, tested it, confirmed it worked, and returned to it with a loyalty that most humans never apply to anything. You walk past it every day. The hollow in the old oak, the gap behind the fence post, the deep interior of the arborvitae by the back gate. The bird that visits your feeder every morning comes from that spot, returns to that spot, has always been there, far closer than you imagined. What this means. The next time rain falls and your yard goes silent, I want you to stand at your window for just a moment and look differently. Not at the empty feeder, at the hedgerow, at the evergreen, at the nest box you put up 3 springs ago, at the brush pile at the back of the garden you keep meaning to clear away. The yard isn't empty. It never was. It is full of hidden, warm, breathing life, resting in the places they have always known, waiting patiently for the rain to pass and the morning to return. They were always there. You just needed to know where to look. If this changed the way you see your backyard, even a little, leave a comment below and tell me what bird you think is hiding in your yard right now. I read every single one, and if you're not yet part of the Backyard Oracle family, subscribe now. Every week we go deeper into the hidden world right outside your window, and I promise you, we are just getting started.